Alright, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and do this video and not worry too much about the way I look. I know I look a mess right now. But, I mean, it's me. Whatever. I know, it gets better. This isn't the best. But it ain't the worst either. But, anywho, I wanted to do this video to kind of do an update on where I am right now. It's Tuesday, March 25th, I believe. Yes, 25th. So, last time I did a video, I was talking about, I'm on the pre-op journey. So I'm trying to fulfill all of my obligations in order to get submitted to insurance. So at this point, there's good news. The good news is that right now, all I have to do is get my cardiologist approval along with doing that stool sample for the H. pylori, and I'll be doing that on Friday. And that'll be the last two things I need to do before they can submit to insurance. Also, there is one small little thing I need to do with my psychologist. She gave some homework, but I'm done with it. Just need to fax that over to her or email it over to her, and I'm going to do that after I do this video. But that's the good news. I don't want to call the second part bad news because it's not necessarily bad news. And, I try to speak positivity over my life and in my life. So it's just a challenge. It's been a huge stepping stone. And that's part of the cardiologist approval. So I ended up having to go to the cardiologist because I had an abnormal EKG. So it was explained to me that, oftentimes people get abnormal EKGs, especially those like me who are kind of, top heavy. I carry a lot of my weight in my breast and also my abdomen region. So that's, the majority of where my stuffing is. So because of that, I was told that's probably why my EKG was abnormal. I also had access to my chart, and my chart also just said it was a inconclusive EKG. So it's not pointing to any particular issue that I might be having, but it just was inconclusive. So anyway, so I was told at my um, weight loss surgery office that it's common, and I would need to just go see a cardiologist. So I started that process. The first time I went to see my weight loss surgery, my blood pressure was up. So that's pretty new for me. I've never been one to have blood pressure issues, although, people in my family have and things like that. But, never really had high blood pressure. Only blood pressure issues I had was during my pregnancy. And that, of course, is common of a woman of my size. So, anyway, so we start with the blood pressure issues. Then, first time I go to the cardiologist, my blood pressure's up a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I need to get this blood pressure down. And nobody has prescribed me anything for it. And I also was in the process of getting an appointment with a new primary care physician. So that is taking a while. So in between there, they said, okay, come on in, let's do a stress test. So it would be like a traditional treadmill stress test. So, okay, so I'm like, all right, I've heard of people having stress tests. So I'm like, that's cool, whatever. In the meantime, I'm doing, all my little home remedies for getting my blood pressure down. Apple cider vinegar, ginger tea, um, even going to the gym, things like that, because no one has prescribed me anything. So the first time I come in to do my stress test, my blood pressure was too high to do a stress test. So the doctor prescribed me with 5 milligrams of Norvasc, and I'm like, oh my God, here I go. I was very, kind of upset, and here I go getting started on blood pressure medication. But, I'm going to do what I need to do because, eventually that'll be a problem of the past once I'm approved and I get my surgery. So I'm going to, do what I'm supposed to do, take the blood pressure medicine. I wouldn't be the first person to do that. So I start that along with, taking garlic. I got some kaolic garlic. At this point, I've heard about nattokinase and Well, I just heard about cortisone, so I was like, I'm interested in that. And, everything else I can think to do to get it down. So anyway, they had me come back a week later to try it again. So I come back a week later, blood pressure's still up. And this is on the prescription medication. I still was on my prescription medication along with some supplements to assist with getting the blood pressure down. So I'm like really mad. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm doing a lot to try to get this blood pressure down and it's still up. So the doctor prescribes that I start taking 10 milligrams of Norvasc. At this point, I've heard about another supplement called Cartertone, and I have that, so I'm going to go ahead and give that a go. So, anyway, before the next time, the third time that I come back, I have an appointment with my new primary care physician. At that appointment, my blood pressure is much lower than it was at the cardiologist, and I'm feeling good about Cartertone. I also could tell that my pulse rate was lower because I was having like a resting pulse of like 90 in the 90s, and that is like, whoa. That to me that was alarming because I've been conscious of pulse rates and everything because I've been like you know in and out of working out throughout my life and stuff. So I was like, well, that's kind of high just for a resting pulse rate, like just straight up waking up in the middle of the night with a 90 to 90 range pulse was kind of like wow. So anyway, my pulse was down. I could really my pulse could be like in the 70s at this point, and this is like last week. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be ready when I go to the third attempt at this stress test. So I go in for the yesterday to have the stress test, and my blood pressure was off the roof, and also my pulse was up. And I'm like, this place must freak me out. But I was like, please do my blood pressure on the other arm because they always have been doing it on my left arm, and it was different on the left arm. And I was devastated. I was pissed off. I was angry because I've been doing everything that known to man to try to get the blood pressure down. I even went down to pretty much almost zero carbs last week, because a low carb diet overall can lower blood pressure. That has been proven through research, and there's research out there on that. And I know when I was doing a low carb diet for the most part in my life, I never had blood pressure. So I was just trying to do anything and everything I can. So here comes the challenging news. So yesterday the lady was like, "Oh, it's gonna be all right. You can just come in tomorrow, and we'll do it differently." And I'm like, "You people are lucky that right now I'm not working. That I can just come in whenever for appointments because regular 36-year-old working women do not have time to be at the doctor's office like 3 times a week, and that's pretty much my average since January. Trying to fulfill these qualifications. And side note, I am working on getting a new gig. I've got some irons in the fire, but I want to get this out of the way before I'm working so that A, I can get all of these crazy appointments out of the way. B, in a regard based on how I heal, you know what I mean? I won't have to rush back to work. And then all of these crazy appointments will be out of the way, and I don't have to ask for time off. I'm gonna be ready to hit the ground running when I do start working again. So, anywho, so that's where I'm at. But then, okay, so here comes the kicker. What I'm gonna have to do for the stress test, I'm gonna have to do one of those nuclear stress tests with where they give you the stimulant to stimulate your heart rate. And I'm like, what? Really? I went over to the weight loss surgery office because it's like in the same in the same complex as the cardiologist, and was like basically bawling to the nurse. And she's such a sweetie. She hugged me and everything, but she was like pretty much saying the surgeon would not waive it because you have to have the cardiologist clearance is really important for the anesthesiologist and everything too. So I'm just thinking of, but I recently had, a few years ago I had gallbladder surgery. Nobody, it was emergency surgery. They don't have time for all of this mess I'm going through. So I was just like, ugh. And I know my brother has had heart issues his whole life. I don't believe he's ever had a nuclear stimulant stress test. And I'm like, I'm doing a lot to get this done. I'm coming up on 10 minutes. I don't know if I can even upload this or not, but I'm going to try. So, anyway, I just wanted to update on what's going on. I have to go through this crazy procedure on Monday. Oh, no, it's Friday. So, in a few days, my mother will be going with me. I'm just, putting it in God's hands. And I deep down inside, I know my heart is fine. I know it's gonna work out. I just want it behind me. So that's my mom calling now. All right, guys, I'll be back to update you.